Repulsive.
Welcome to your station 1999K Radio, where the dead speak. Good evening, Nightwalkers, youth observers, and radio listeners. Welcome back to 1999K Radio. My name is Sebastian, and tonight I will be your host. Thank you for being here on a new broadcast of this, your midnight show. Tonight, we have a great show for you. This evening, December 4th, 2023, we are starting transmission. Tell me, how was your week? This week, I started watching the series 30 Coins, created by Alex de la Iglesia. Alex de la Iglesia is the same director and writer as the movie The Day of the Beast, a very good film from 1995. This series is Spanish and is about a small town in Spain where one of the 30 silver coins given to Judas Iscariot for betraying Christ appears. Its first season has 8 episodes and the second has 6 episodes. It's truly original, it has very good comedic moments, and I really recommend it. I also had the chance to watch The Thing from Another World from 1951, based on the novella Who Goes There. It's the original film that John Carpenter's The Thing, well, more or less, is based on. It is very different. In my opinion, it's fast-paced, and the fact that it's only 1 hour and 26 minutes long, it's excellent. It has a vibe similar to The Twilight Zone, that suspenseful black and white series, which you already know it's a gem. I highly recommend it. It is quite entertaining and it's fascinating to see how they portrayed aliens in the 1950s. Now, let's quickly move on to the birthdays of this week. On November 27th, we celebrate the birth of Gamera, the giant monster, directed by Noriaki Yuasa. This movie hits Japanese theaters in 1965. The film revolves around a Japanese plane shut down in Antarctica, and the explosion of its cargo awakens Gamera, a giant prehistoric turtle seeking revenge against the people who disturb its long slumber. On November 28, 1989, Psycho Cop went straight to video. This movie tells the story of a couple who accidentally stumble upon a ritualistic murder. This ritual is carried out by Joe Vickers, a corrupt police officer, Satan worshipper, and serial killer. On November 29, 1985, the movie Underworld was released. No, it's not the vampire versus werewolf film. I also love that Underworld. But this Underworld, also known as Transmutations, is an English horror film directed by George Palo and written by Clive Baker, the same creator of Hellraiser. He has good books too. The movie follows the story of Dr. Zavadi, a biochemist who has created a race of subhumans living in the sewers of London. On November 30, 1990, a film that represents the greatest fear of any celebrity hits theaters. Misery, based on the novel by Stephen King with the same name, tells the story of the writer Paul Sheldon, who after a car accident is rescued by his number one fan, Annie Wilkers, who takes care of him until his wounds heal. This is a truly chilling movie, and the book is 5 times better. On December 1st, 1934, The Ghost Walks arrived in US theaters. A macabre whodunit. A story where a group of friends get trapped in the middle of a storm, seeking refuge in a nearby house. They discover that the owner is an old acquaintance of one of them. They also find out that perhaps they were better off outside in the storm than inside the house. On December 2nd, 1932, The Return of Dr. X was released, with Humphrey Bogart as Dr. X. This film follows reporter Walter Garrett in his investigations of bizarre murders, all linked by the victims having a very rare blood type. And finally, but not less important, on December 3rd, 2010, we saw the release of one of my favorite horror movies and the most challenging one to recommend. Beyond the Black Rainbow, written and directed by Panos Cosmatos. This is a highly visual and musical film. It's a movie that will make you feel uneasy and impressed. In the year 1960, Mercurio Arboria founded the Arboria Institute, a New Age institution dedicated to scientific and spiritual union. I won't give away too much about this film, but I'm a big fan of it. Now, let's move to the main topic of this episode. They say that we should be careful with what we tell ourselves because we have more power over ourselves than we believe. They also say that if you're not good at something, you should tell yourself that you're very good at it, and it soon will be. And in China, there's an old saying that says, be careful with what you wish for, because it might come true. How much of this is true, and how much is magic? As part of the chaos magic, there's something called Sigils. I started paying attention to this topic because of the logos of the brands that we consume every day. Could it be that beyond being simple logos designed to be unique and easily recognizable, there is also something more behind them? Although chaos magic may sound somewhat threatening, it really focuses more on the idea that there is an order and chaos, and they are in balance. Together, they can be directed to a certain extent to achieve something. Now, and very importantly, before attempting what I'm about to tell you next, I want you to know that I don't know how to undo it, only how to construct it. So proceed with caution. A sigil, it's a type of symbol used in magic. Usually, when talking about sigils in, we could say, regular magic, so to speak, one will be referring to images that are the signature of angels or demons, such as those that appear on King Solomon's lesser key. In chaos magic, these signatures or images are created by oneself. The idea behind creating a sigil is that you, in a certain way, focus both your spiritual energy and your subconscious toward a specific goal. Then, both the energy of the universe and your actions move towards that designated goal. Okay, to create a sigil, you have to do the following. Think of something you want and put it into a phrase and then write it down. This phrase has to be in present tense. It can't be in the future. You have to state or think about it as if it is already happening. For example, don't say, I want to pass the science exam. You have to write, I passed the science exam. Okay? Once you're writing this down, what you should do is eliminate all the vowels from this phrase or intention. So, I passed the science exam becomes something like PSSD, THSC, and CXM. This will be easier to understand if you write it down while I tell you what to do. So, once you already have only consonants, you should eliminate all repeated consonants, so it becomes something like PSD, THNCXM. You will end up with something like an unpronounceable word, but that's okay. Now, on a sheet of paper, you need to create a symbol or a seal using all the remaining letters. The idea is to draw a circle, and inside that circle you'll have a seal with all the letters that can be read or seen. Take the Toyota logo as an example. The Toyota logo, it actually contains the entire world spelled out within the logo. Okay, you have your seal. Now comes the important and potentially dangerous part, activating it. Before explaining how to activate it, I have to give you 2 warnings. Number 1, I've searched, but I haven't found how to undo a Sigil. If you are going to make one, be very sure of what you want, because if you make a mistake, you might activate something you can't deactivate. 2, before proceeding with activation, have a very clear idea of how you want this intention or action to happen. If you don't give it an order, they say the universe will. For example, let's say you want a lot of money. So you ask for it and activate a Sigil. Then you get hit by a car, lose both your legs, and as part of the compensation, you receive a lot of money. Well, it worked. You have money, but not as you wanted. So think very well about how you want what you desire to happen. If it's money, think that you will be offered a job you will enjoy, where you will be well paid, and you'll be happy. Okay? Very well. Now for the activation. To activate your Sigil, you must imbue it with a lot of your energy. This can be done through meditation. You sit down, light some incense, and meditate, keeping your Sigil in mind until you feel it's charged with your energy. It also can be done during a very strong euphoric moment, a time when you're extremely happy and you think about it, making it present in your mind to charge it with that emotion. Or during a moment of intense ecstasy, like in an intimate moment with your partner. Similarly, you think about the Sigil until you reach ecstasy, and when the emotion subsides, it will be charged. This part of the activation with your emotions is the spiritual or energetic part that is supposed to attract the energy of the universe. But we're not done yet. Now, you should implant it into your subconscious. Once the Sigil is charged, you need to burn it and forget about it. By forgetting it, your subconscious is the one that will take charge, ensuring that all your actions, without you realizing it, are directed toward this goal. And there you have it, your Sigil is already and activated. I've heard of people tattooing them to keep the idea always alive or doing similar things, creating a logo or something like that. But the general idea is to remove it from your mind. Personally, I never made one. I'm not a big fan of leaving things around me. that I'm not seeing, and the thought of leaving something in my subconscious doesn't thrill me. But it's curious to think, as I mentioned at the beginning, how many brands could have used this technique. We know that in certain circles of society, occultism and magic are widely used to gain control and power over people. And sometimes I wonder how much we are involved in these things without realizing it. Well, now you know what a Sigil is and how they're made. In case you came across one on the street when buying something or using a service, you may be able to just give it a second thought and think if it's really you doing it or you're just following someone else's Sigil. And thus, we conclude this week's episode. As always, you're more than welcome to contact me. I'll leave the Instagram link below in case you want to chat a little bit. And I'll be here next Monday with all of you. I will also like to tell you that this episode will be uploaded in Spanish in case you have a friend who doesn't speak English but is interested in learning about Sigils. Thank you for tuning into 1999K Radio. Have a calm and chilly night, and don't forget to be careful on what you wish for, because it might come true. Good night.